Everyone in this arena has a money stake in one of our famous couples. Rooting section number 1 has its money on composer-singer Chuck Woolery and movie actress Ann Pflug. Rooting section number 2 backs Alan Ludden, host of Password, and Betty White of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And rooting section number 3 is betting on Bill Cullen, host of 3 on a Match, and his wife Ann, as we play the game of celebrity gossip, TattleTales. And here's the star of TattleTales, Bert Convey.
Oh, I love to kiss the middle celebrity. Thank you. Welcome to TattleTales. Thank you for tuning us in. As you know, our studio audience is divided up into 3 sections here, each one rooting for one of our celebrity couples. And every time one of our stars wins some money, it is divided by their rooting section. So, ready to go, gang? Yeah. Let's go. Now let's have a seat. Yeah, ladies out front. Okay, we're ready to start our first round. The ladies are out here with me. Let's welcome them. Ann and your husband, Bill Cullen, sitting backstage. It's nice to have you with us. This is your first time on TattleTales.
Yes, it is.
Not the last, I hope.
Yeah, no.
Thank you for coming. The same with you, the people sitting next to you, Betty White, and her husband, Alan Ludden, sitting in the back.
What did you say?
And last, but certainly not least,
oh, God love him.
Ann Pflug. No. Ann Pflug and her husband, Chuck Woolery.
Yes. Hello there.
I thought it was very nice of you. I haven't said anything about your name at all until just
Why
then.
should you?
Who? Ann Pflug, I said. Okay, fellas, we're going to cut you off from sight and sound. We're going to ask some questions. We'll get back to you in just a moment. Bye. Ladies. Yes. I am now going to ask you questions about your husbands and your lives together. When you think you have an answer he's going to recognize, press that little button in front of you. Be quick. I'll only take one response. Okay. Not now, not now. Here's the question first. A story about your in-laws. And you punch that with a certain amount of determination,
yes.
You know?
Can it be his in-laws? I mean, mine.
Story about your in-laws,
yes.
either or.
Oh, it's going to be very hard to give a clue to. My husband, we've discussed before, he's a leg man. You see, we were driving in this automobile. There was a driver sitting here. Bill was sitting in the front seat. And he has a habit of reaching over and patting my knee. And the back seat was crowded, and the knee he got was my mother's. And my mother just sort of looked at me, and I looked at her, and we decided we wouldn't say anything. And then we could see he started discovering it wasn't the usual knee that he was used to. And he didn't say anything. And later we all laughed about it. But now what can I say?
Well, now we need a one-word clue or a two-word clue. One
knee
word worth $100
leg.
or 2 words.
Knee or leg, maybe.
Well,
Let's say, okay, a knee.
I'll go for knee.
All right.
All right. A one-word clue worth $100. Let's bring on the fellas. Gentlemen, we have asked the ladies a question. We want you to sound that signal in front of you when you recognize your wife and can match her answer from the clue. Here is the question first. A story about your in-laws. And the clue is knee. Bill. You're up, Bill.
Oh, I can't believe it. I'm going to sound like the dirtiest old man you've had on.
You are.
Thank you, dear. I want you to know, if it weren't for you people that we're playing for, I wouldn't tell this story. We were riding in a car to a restaurant, as I believe, and I was sitting in the front, and my wife and her mother, and I guess someone else was back in the back, and I was like my wife's legs, and I like to remind her that I'm thinking of her, all of her. But I had my hand over the back seat, and I was gently and rather lovingly, nothing fresh, caressing my wife's knee and thigh, and all of a sudden, about halfway to the restaurant, or 10 minutes later, I looked back and it was her mother's leg I was trying to get.
That's exactly what you said.
Mother's legs. Nice legs. Nice legs.
Oh, that's how do you get along with your mother-in-law now, Bill?
Better than I do with my wife.
Thank you,
nice
gentlemen.
legs.
We'll get back to you in just a moment. Okay, ladies, you ready for the next question? Here we go. A meal you'd like to forget. Tell us about a meal you'd like to forget. Betty. It is you, Betty.
We had been married, like about 20 minutes, speaking of in-laws, we had been married about, well, a week, and I'm not what you'd call great in the kitchen. I'm not great anywhere, but in the kitchen I'm less great. And all of a sudden we got an announcement that Alan's folks were coming up from Corpus Christi, Texas, and going to stay with us for a few days, and I panicked because I didn't know what to give them to eat. I thought I can entertain them, and we know we can put them up, but what'll I feed them? So I got a ham, and I baked the ham and prayed a lot. My mother-in-law's a very good cook. And I gave them ham, I think, every single day for the entire thing. It was the only thing I could cook.
Okay, so I hesitate to ask a one or two word clue, which would probably be.
It was sad. You don't know how sad it was. Ham.
Ham has got to be the clue. That'll be interesting, that clue. All three of them might think that means them, won't they? All right, let's bring on the fellas. Gentlemen, we have yet another question and another clue. Here is the question first. A meal you'd like to forget. And the clue is ham. Ham.
See, you forgot.
Not only you'd like to forget it, you did forget it. Does that sound familiar to you, Alan?
Oh, that's
Good, Bill.
Now, don't pick on him, fellas, for God's sakes.
funny.
Ham.
Yeah.
Speaking.
Tell him what you said, Betty.
Well, maybe he did forget it, but when we were married very briefly, don't you remember your folks came up from Corpus Christi and I gave them ham every single meal because it was the only thing I could cook. I cooked one ham and stretched it for 2 weeks.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I blocked that whole thing out of
Yes,
my
you certainly
memory.
did, and very successfully
I'm
too, I
sorry
might
about
add.
that,
All
honey.
right, at this point, Joanne and Chuck have yet to score. Betty and Alan have 0. Ann and Bill are in the lead with $100.
Cooking here.
All right,
Get a
now
hot
we're
hand.
going to play a little tattletale quickie. Shall we
Good.
do that? Okay,
Yeah.
fellas, I'm going to go up here and get one of them.
I gotta get a point now, one way or another.
All right, we'll see. Fellas, I'm going to ask you this question. Don't give me the answer until I ask for it. Each correct answer is worth $100. Here it is. Men, do you believe that high school girls should be given the birth control pill? Shakes me up, I can't even read it. Do you believe that high school girls should be given the birth control pill if they ask for it? Let me repeat it. Men, do you believe that high school girls should be given the birth control pill if they ask for it? That's rather provocative. Thank you, fellas. We'll come back to you in a moment. Think about it. Ann, how do you think Bill will react to that?
Very difficult. Very difficult. Well, you have the feeling if they ask for it, it might be a good idea to give them one because otherwise they might get pregnant. I mean, that's certainly what they have in mind.
And those are only the boys.
I'd say maybe he would say that, yeah, if they ask for it.
Yes, if they ask for it.
Yeah.
So your answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's bring on Bill. Bill,
Yes.
do you believe that high school girls should be given the birth control pill if they ask for it?
I sincerely wish they'd had him when I was in high school. No, there's no question in my mind. If they ask for it, absolutely yes.
That's what I said. That's right, for $100, Bill. All right, thank you, sir. Okay, Betty, how about Alan? What would you say?
As you put it so well, the birth control poll, is that what you
No,
called
I
it?
did not. I didn't say that.
Oh, I think Alan would invariably say absolutely yes. If they ask for it, give it to them. And the pills, too, yes.
Now. We're not going to let this little shindig get out of hand, are we, folks? Let's bring on Alan, shall we? Alan, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think if a high school girl asks for a birth control pill, she's already decided what she's going to do. So I think yes, you should give it to her.
That's what Betty said. For $100, you're right. Okay, thank you, Alan. Okay, Joanne.
Oh, fiddly dee.
How about Chuck? What would he say about that?
Isn't this dreadful? I go, I don't know. Well, if they ask for it, that's the tricky
That's the
part
point.
of it.
Men, do you believe that high school girls should be given the birth control pill if they ask for it?
I think he'd probably say no, because he wouldn't want to encourage them.
Okay. You say no.
No.
Okay. She's the one that lives with the man. Let's bring him on. Okay, Chuck.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, hello?
How do you feel about that question? Do you want me to read it to you again, or do you remember?
No, I remember. That's an interesting question. It really is. I think, of course, naturally, if they had the training at home and everything, they probably wouldn't want it to begin with. But if a girl asks for it, and she's going to do that anyway, I guess it's best to keep her from not getting pregnant. So, yeah, I think you ought to give it to her.
Do you hear that? And tell him what you said, Joanne. He might
I said
find
you
it
would say
interesting.
no because you didn't want to encourage them.
No, I wouldn't want to encourage them either, but if they're going to do it, I mean, you know, what are you going to say?
Go ahead, get pregnant,
Okay,
baby.
sorry, no score there.
Chuck.
So let's see. At this point, Joanne and Chuck have 0. Betty and Alan have $100. Ann and Bill are in the lead with $200. Exchange places, ladies. To the rear. Gentlemen, come on out here, front and center. We'll be back with more of TattleTales right after this message for you. Don't go away. Okay, we're back. As you know, our studio audience is sharing in the winnings of our celebrity couples. We have a check writing machine out there that does it right after the show. But let me remind you of this. If you're in the winning rooting section when backing our winningest couple today, we will add as a bonus $1,000. Gentlemen, it's nice to have you out here with us.
Who has $1,000? Who has
No. We'll add a bonus of $1,000 to the winning couple.
It'll go to that group right
Their
there.
ratings rooting section. Okay, let's bring on the ladies, see how they're doing back there. Ladies, can you hear us okay now?
Yes.
All right, in just a moment you won't be able to. We're going to cut you off and put you in solitary confinement so you can't, okay? We'll get back to you in a minute. Goodbye, ladies. Bye.
Bye.
Missed all their goodbyes. Gentlemen, you know the rules. I'm going to ask you questions about your wives, your lives together. When you have an answer you think she'll recognize, press that little button in front of you. Be quick, though. Gosh, you all look terrific.
Oh, thank you. You look lovely yourself.
What terrific outfits they have. Wow.
I got the tag for
Okay.
this suit.
What's that, the tag to your
I
suit?
got the tag to this suit. It's a 48 short.
size.
All right, gentlemen, here we go. First question, get ready. A time one of you was mistaken for somebody else. All right, Chuck, tell us about a time you were mistaken for somebody else.
There's no question about this because it actually is to do with the first story about champagne that I told yesterday. Because when I first was introduced to Ann Pflug and told about her and everything, I thought she was Sally Kellerman.
You did?
And I honestly thought she was Sally Kellerman because I'd never seen her. It just said the nurse on MASH.
Did you
so
see MASH?
Obviously it was a mistaken identity. What?
Okay, so it's a time somebody well, the question is a time one of you was mistaken for somebody else, so that's one of you, that's her.
Yeah, it was her.
You mistook
I
her
mistook her for
else.
Sally Kellerman.
All right, well, we need a clue now, and it can't be a name. So one-word clue worth $100, two-word clue worth $50.
Can't be man.
No,
Oh,
can't use that, I don't
Okay,
believe.
I've got it. Got to use a two-word clue, though.
All
It's
right.
got to be blind date. Has to be.
Blind date.
Yeah, because that's the first time I.
All right, now you
I
remember
found
what
out she
happened over in
wasn't.
this section when they insisted on
She'll
an answer.
never get this. There's no
All
way.
right, you're going to say a time one of you was mistaken for somebody else, and you're going to say blind date.
Yeah,
Let's bring
she'll
on-
never get it, though.
Quiet now, quiet. Let's bring on the ladies. Shh. Ladies, we have asked the fellas a question. When you can match his answer from the clue, sound your signal. Here is the question first. A time one of you was mistaken for somebody else. And the clue is blind date. Joanne!
Terrific.
Tell us about that, Joanne, if you will.
Well, we had a blind date.
Yes?
That's how we met, and he thought I was Sally Kellerman.
Hey, that's what he said. That's worth $50.
Didn't think she'd get it. That's great.
He didn't think you'd get that. He thought that was kind of tough.
I want to know how long it took him to discover she wasn't.
He's sitting right next to you, Alan. Why don't you ask him? How long did it take you to discover she wasn't?
Actually, it took quite a while. I went in the front door, and there were 15 or 20 people in her apartment on this date. Nobody introduced us, and there were all these blondes around. I kept saying, oh, that's not her. No, that's not her. And finally, over by the piano, I turned to David Ladd, and I said, listen, if that was her, it'd be a little different. He said, stupid, that's her. And I went, oh, terrific.
Okay.
Oh, you're so
That's it.
sweet.
Isn't he sweet? I don't believe a word of it. All right, ladies, we'll get back to you in just a moment. Thank you. Gentlemen, are you ready? Next question coming up. Here we go. A memorable anniversary. Alan.
Something memorable.
All right, Alan, tell us about a memorable anniversary, if you will.
We haven't had one that wasn't memorable. There have been those that we weren't too happy about each other. But I'm going to pick, of all the 11 or the 10, I'm going to pick...
Well, how many is it?
Only 11.
I can't use a proper name, can I? We had an anniversary in the Caribbean, in Jamaica. We had an anniversary. I can't use a proper name. It's getting more difficult by the moment. I can say islands, though, can't I?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
we had an anniversary in the islands. It was very happy. I had bought her a ring, and it was just... I think anniversaries are the best time of the year anyway, so I'll say islands.
Islands. One-word clue, and the clue is
Let her tell you about it.
I said the clue is islands. I probably should say the clue are islands.
Oh, you go ahead. Say the clue is islands.
The clue is islands.
Okay.
All right. Let's bring on the ladies. Ladies, we have another question. We have another clue. Here is the question first. A memorable anniversary. And the clue is islands. Joanne, tell us about that.
Anniversary.
A memorable anniversary. The clue was islands.
I was thinking it was our honeymoon when we spent our honeymoon of New Year's Eve with all my friends on a boat in Key
Yes,
West.
I remember that.
Oh, that's a fascinating story.
Yeah, good story.
Absolutely fascinating, but that
Sounds
isn't
like
what-
something Sally Kellerman would say.
That's not what Chuck said.
Get your heart out, Bill Ludden.
That isn't what Chuck said. Betty, does that sound vaguely familiar to you?
I'm just not fast enough on my buzzer, as they say, but
I've always thought you were.
I wouldn't touch that line with a forklift.
We had our 10th wedding, not our last necessarily anniversary, although the jury's still out.
Remember, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
We had our anniversary in the Greek islands, and that was our anniversary present to each other, I thought. Until
Well, you're still not there yet,
he
quite.
surprised me with a ring.
Alan,
That's a
tell her what
better
you
story.
said.
That's
a better
true.
story.
That's very true, though. Our 10th anniversary present was a trip to the Greek islands, which was marvelous. And why didn't I think of that in the
No,
first
why
place?
didn't either one of you? I'm sorry,
Is
no
another
score
one?
there, dear. Yeah, he was mentioning Jamaica and all kinds of places. At this point, let's get our score.
Jamaican.
Joanne and Chuck have $50. Betty and Alan have $100. Ann and Bill are in the lead with $200. We'll be right back with more TattleTales after this message for you. Yeah. Come back. Okay, we are back. We're going to play a Tattletale Quickie round now.
Yeah.
Ladies, I'm going to ask you the question. Don't give me the answer until I ask for it, okay? Here it is. Ladies, if they drafted women, would you be best as a paratrooper, a drill sergeant, or a chaplain? Ladies, if they drafted women, would you be best as a paratrooper, a drill sergeant, or as a chaplain? Think about that. We'll come back to you in just a moment. All right, Bill, how do you think Ann sees herself in the Army? As a paratrooper, a drill sergeant, or a chaplain?
Well, Ann is not a powerful person as far as she will not inflict her personality or order anybody, so drill sergeant is out. Chaplain, she's never lectured me or anyone that I know. I by the process of elimination, I'm left with the fact she's well coordinated, she loves to fly, airplane-wise.
Yes.
And she would probably have trouble screwing up her courage to the jumping point, but I'll go along with the paratrooper, which I did. Geronimo, if you don't mind.
All right, let's bring on Ann. Okay, and which one of those three do you think you would prefer? A paratrooper, a drill sergeant, or a chaplain?
I don't like any of them, but I'll take a paratrooper.
And just for fun, why do you think that? I mean, if you...
Well, the
one of them appeals to-
other two are out of the question.
That's what he said, too. You matched it again. Okay, thank you, Ann. Alan, how about Betty? Which one of those three?
Well, the other two are not too good either, are out of the question for her, too. And the only thing about, she doesn't like heights, but the only thing about the paratrooper would be close to the Air Force, and she's been very fond of the Air Force throughout her career, I must say.
That's a very
I
loaded statement.
Would you like to know more about that? Well,
No,
it
I
says
wouldn't.
in any case, she will no doubt say paratrooper with the excuse that she'll say paratrooper is what she'll say.
Period. Okay, let's bring her on and find out. Betty. Betty.
Yes.
Which one of those three, if you were drafted, do you think you would be best at?
Well, I'm not too great with heights, so paratrooper's out, and I really think that the chaplain, I'd never make the weight, so I would definitely be a drill sergeant.
That's not the one that Alan picked.
honey,
Tell her
I
what you said,
thought-
Alan.
Is that the same Alan Ludden I know out there?
I believe
Well,
it is, yes. Looks just
I
like
just
him.
thought the nearness to the Air Force
Eating
would
up
attract
time
you to
so
the
we don't get a
paratrooper.
shot.
I'm sorry, go
That
ahead.
first step is a son of a gun.
Okay, sorry, Betty. No score there. All right, Chuck, how about Joanne?
Chaplain.
Hello? Hello?
Chaplain.
Did you understand the question?
Yeah, I think I was going to try to do it real quick because
Okay, you
she's a
got
very
it.
spiritual person and everything, and she jumps good, but...
Okay, that's it.
Chaplain.
Let's bring on Joanne. Let's bring on Joanne. Joanne,
Yes.
which one of those three, dear, would you think you'd be best at?
I'm scared of heights, so I wouldn't jump, and I wouldn't like to be a DI, and so I would say I'd be a chaplain.
That's what he said. $100.
Way to go, sweetheart.
Okay.
You got a lot of class.
At this point, oh, wait a minute, that means our time is up. Our winners for the day are Ann and Bill Cullen. All right, Ann and Bill, you've won $300. We had $1,000 to that for a total of $1,300 for your winning section. Okay. We'll be back in just a moment with more TattleTales after this message for you. Hang on. That's all we have time for. We're very late. We gave away $1,550 today. Tune in tomorrow on TattleTales. Bert Convey, so long. See you next time.
This is Jack Clark speaking for TattleTales, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.